You know something's wrong. You feel it in your gut. But every time you try to bring it up, somehow you end up apologizing. Somehow you're the one who's confused. Somehow you're the problem. That's gaslighting, and it's one of the most insidious forms of psychological manipulation because it doesn't just control your behavior, it controls your reality. In this video, I'm going to show you how to spot gaslighting in just 5 minutes. These are the warning signs that tell you someone is actively distorting your perception of reality. And once you see them, you'll never question yourself the same way again. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for and what to do about it. Before we begin, let's be clear about what gaslighting actually is. It's not just lying. It's not just disagreeing with you. Gaslighting is a systematic pattern of making you doubt your own memory, perception, and sanity. The term comes from a 1944 film called Gaslight, where a husband manipulates his wife into believing she's losing her mind. He dims the gas lights in their home, but when she notices, he insists the lights haven't changed, that she's imagining things. That's gaslighting. It's not about what's true. It's about making you question whether you can trust your own mind. And here's what makes it so dangerous. It happens gradually. One small denial here, one subtle twist there, until you're so disoriented that you depend on the gaslighter to tell you what's real. So let's break down how to spot it. Fast. Sign number 1, they flat out deny things you know happened. This is the foundation of gaslighting. You bring up something they said or did, and they respond with absolute confidence. I never said that. That didn't happen. You're remembering it wrong. Not, I don't remember it that way. Not, I think you misunderstood. But a complete, unwavering denial of reality. And here's the key. They say it with such conviction that you start to doubt yourself. Did I really hear that? Did I misunderstand? Maybe I am remembering it wrong? That confusion? That's the gaslighter's goal. Because once you doubt your own memory, you have to rely on theirs. And their version always makes them look innocent, and you look unstable. If someone consistently denies things you know happened with certainty and no room for discussion, that's gaslighting. Sign number 2, they tell you you're too sensitive or overreacting. You express how their behavior made you feel. And instead of acknowledging your feelings, they dismiss them. You're being too sensitive. You're overreacting. You're making a big deal out of nothing. You're too emotional. This isn't just invalidation. It's a specific tactic to make you question whether your emotional responses are legitimate. And over time, it works. You start policing your own feelings. You think, maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I am overreacting. Maybe my feelings aren't valid. But here's the truth. Your feelings are information. They're telling you something. And a gaslighter's job is to make you ignore that information. If someone consistently labels your reactions as excessive or irrational, especially when you're responding to something genuinely hurtful, that's gaslighting. Sign number 3, they tell you things you know you said or did, but didn't. This is the flip side of denying reality. It's when they create a false reality and insist you participated in it. You agreed to this. You said you were fine with it. You told me you wanted this, and you know you didn't. You have no memory of that conversation, but they're so certain, so specific, that you start to wonder, did I forget? Was I not paying attention? Am I losing my mind? This is especially insidious because it makes you question your own reliability. If you can't trust your memory of what you said, how can you trust yourself at all? Gaslighters use this to rewrite history in their favor. And if you accept their version, they can justify any behavior by claiming you consented to it. Sign number 4, they accuse you of doing exactly what they're doing. This is called projection, and gaslighters are masters at it. They're lying, but they accuse you of being dishonest. They're manipulating, but they claim you're the one playing games. They're being cruel, but they say you're the one being hurtful. And it's disorienting, because suddenly you're on the defensive, trying to prove you're not guilty of something you didn't do. The actual issue, their behavior, gets buried under the accusation. This serves two purposes. First, it deflects attention from their actions. Second, it makes you question yourself. Am I manipulative? Am I dishonest? Maybe I am the problem. If someone consistently accuses you of the exact behavior they're exhibiting, that's gaslighting. They're not confused. They're deflecting. Sign number 5. They use your own words against you, out of context. You said something weeks or months ago, and now, in a completely different context, they're using it to prove you're wrong, inconsistent, or crazy. But you said you were fine with it. You told me you didn't care. You said you trusted me. And technically, yes, you might have said those words, but the context was different. The situation was different, and they're twisting your past words to invalidate your current feelings. This makes you feel trapped, like anything you say can and will be used against you. So you stop speaking up. You stop trusting your own voice. Gaslighters keep a mental record of your words, not to understand you better, but to weaponize them later. Sign number 6. They tell you that everyone else agrees with them. Everyone thinks you're overreacting. Your friends have noticed how irrational you're being. Even your family thinks you're wrong about this. This is isolation disguised as consensus. They're making you feel like you're alone in your perception, that everyone else sees reality their way, that you're the crazy one. And most of the time, they haven't talked to anyone, or if they have, they've presented a distorted version of events to get the response they want. But even if you suspect that, the seed of doubt is planted. What if they're right? What if everyone does think I'm crazy? Gaslighters use this tactic to cut you off from your own judgment and from the people who might validate your reality. Sign number 7. They trivialize your concerns. You bring up something important, something that's been bothering you, something that genuinely hurt you, and they make it seem small, insignificant, not worth discussing. Why are you bringing up old stuff? That was so long ago. Can't you just let it go? You're dwelling on the past. This isn't about moving forward. It's about shutting you down, because if your concerns are trivial, you don't have the right to keep bringing them up. And if you do, you're the one being difficult. Gaslighters trivialize your concerns to train you not to have them, to make you feel guilty for caring about things that matter to you. If someone consistently makes your legitimate concerns seem petty or obsessive, that's gaslighting. Sign number 8. They tell you you're imagining things. This is classic gaslighting straight out of the original film. Something happened. You saw it. You experienced it. And they tell you it didn't. That didn't happen. You're imagining things. You're paranoid. You're seeing problems that aren't there. And the cruelest part? Sometimes they say it with concern. I'm worried about you. You're not seeing things clearly. Maybe you should talk to someone. Now you're not just wrong, you're mentally unstable. And they're the concerned party trying to help you. This is gaslighting at its most dangerous, because it doesn't just make you question a specific memory. It makes you question your entire grip on reality. Sign number 9. Your gut tells you something's wrong, but you can't prove it. This one's subtle, but it's important. You feel uneasy, confused, like something's off. But every time you try to pinpoint it, the evidence disappears. Conversations you thought you had, they claim never happened. Promises you're sure they made, they deny. Patterns you've noticed, they insist don't exist. And because you can't prove it, you start to believe you're making it up. But here's the truth. Your gut is smarter than you think. Your subconscious picks up on patterns and inconsistencies that your conscious mind hasn't fully processed yet. If you consistently feel like something's wrong, but you can't put your finger on it, trust that feeling. That's not paranoia. That's your intuition telling you you're being manipulated. Sign number 10. You find yourself constantly apologizing, even when you didn't do anything wrong. You start conversations intending to address their behavior, and somehow, by the end, you're the one saying sorry. You wanted to talk about how they hurt you, but now you're apologizing for bringing it up, for being too sensitive, for misunderstanding, for making them feel bad. This is the result of sustained gaslighting. You've been conditioned to believe that your perceptions are wrong and that expressing them is an offense. Gaslighters are experts at flipping the script. They turn every confrontation into an opportunity to make you feel guilty. And over time, you learn to apologize preemptively, just to avoid the conflict. If you're constantly apologizing in a relationship, even when you know you didn't do anything wrong, you're being gaslighted. Sign number 11. They change the subject whenever you try to address their behavior. You bring up something they did, and instead of responding, they bring up something you did, or something completely unrelated. Well, what about the time you're one to talk? Let's not forget about this is deflection, and it works because it derails the conversation. Now you're defending yourself instead of addressing the original issue. And if you try to bring the conversation back, they accuse you of being controlling or obsessive. Why are you so fixated on this? Can't we just move on? Gaslighters don't engage with your concerns. They redirect, deflect, and derail until you give up trying to be heard. Sign number 12. You feel like you're going crazy. This is the ultimate red flag. If you're in a relationship, romantic, familial, professional, and you consistently feel confused, disoriented, and unsure of your own judgment, something is very wrong. Gaslighting isn't subtle once it's entrenched. It's destabilizing. You second-guess everything. You don't trust your memory. You feel like you're losing your grip on reality. And here's what's important to understand. That feeling isn't a sign that you're crazy. It's a sign that someone is making you feel crazy. There's a difference. Healthy relationships don't leave you questioning your sanity. If you feel like you're going insane, you're not. You're being gaslighted. So now you know the signs. And if you recognize several of them, here's what you need to do. First, trust yourself. Your perceptions are valid. Your feelings are real. You're not imagining this. Second, document everything. Write down conversations. Note dates and details. Not to use against them, but to ground yourself in reality when they try to distort it. And third, get outside perspective. Talk to someone you trust, someone who isn't invested in keeping you confused. Because gaslighters thrive in isolation. Gaslighting only works if you don't see it. But now you do. And that changes everything. The question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge?